Hello friends. About 70% of the friends who watch my videos are not subscribed, and I would be very happy if you did. Also, don't forget to press the like button and leave your comments. Your interaction makes the content reach everyone and contributes to the growth of the channel. Thank you all. From which country or city do you follow the channel? There's something I need to tell you right now. If you've ever worked a night shift at a nearly empty grocery store, you'll understand. There are silences that aren't normal. Moments where the hum of the freezer and the flicker of fluorescent lights are the only sounds. And you start to feel like you're not alone anymore. I used to think the worst thing about moving to Dallas was the dry, blistering heat of August. But I was wrong. Dead wrong. I took this job because I was desperate. A night shift at the Kroger on Singleton Boulevard. $10 an hour stocking shelves from midnight to sunrise. No customers. No voices. Just me, endless aisles. And a sheet of rules handed to me on my first night, yellowed, brittle, and unbelievably strange. At first the rules seemed like a joke, but then I heard the checkout scanner beeping. In the dark, I saw the milk turn blood red in the cooler, and I met a woman wandering aisle 4, always searching for something or someone she was never going to find. This isn't just a ghost story. It's a confession. Because after tonight, this Kroger will be shut down for good. And me? I need someone to know the truth. I never planned to end up in Dallas. It wasn't part of some grand career move or carefully laid out future. It was desperation. Raw, ugly, scraping the bottom desperation. My dad's construction business in Amarillo went under that summer. One day we were laying drywall, the next, we were laying off everyone, including ourselves. Within 2 weeks, we sold the truck we used for jobs. By the third week, I packed what little I had into my own beat-up Chevy Silverado and pointed it south. Dallas was supposed to be temporary. My cousin Mark had a couch in Oak Cliff, and no questions, that was enough. I told myself I'd stay a month. Find some work, get back on my feet, maybe rent a one-bedroom near Fair Park. Something simple, quiet. But reality doesn't like simple. The Kroger on Singleton Boulevard. It was my third day in Dallas when I saw the sign, "Now hiring, overnight stalker." No experience needed. No one dreams of stacking soup cans for a living. But I was down to $17 in fumes in my gas tank. That sign might as well have been a miracle. The manager was a woman in her 50s named Donna Miller, with sharp features, weathered eyes, and a voice like she'd smoked menthols since high school. She looked over my crumpled resume for all of 10 seconds before handing me a W-2 form. "You'll be night crew," she said, adjusting her glasses. "Midnight to 8. Quiet. Just you and whoever's on security. We've had some turnover lately." Turnover. The word echoed in my head. She didn't explain. I didn't ask. The pay was $10.50 an hour, barely enough to survive, but just enough to keep me breathing. She handed me a time card and pointed toward the back entrance. "You'll be working the aisles alone mostly," she said. "You okay with that kind of solitude?" I nodded. Solitude, hell. I was raised in it. My dad and I used to work job sites alone for 12 hours straight with only country radio and cheap coffee for company. But there's a difference between being alone under the sun and being alone in a supermarket at 3 a.m. My first night, a quiet 2 deep. That night I arrived early. The parking lot was mostly empty. Just Donna's old sedan and a few flickering streetlights casting orange shadows across the asphalt. As I stepped through the employee entrance, something shifted. Not physically, not anything I could point at, but the air felt heavier, like walking underwater. The break room smelled like burnt popcorn and industrial-grade loneliness. An ancient vending machine buzzed in the corner, half its buttons taped over. Donna gave me a quick tour, dairy section, frozen foods back stockroom. Then she handed me a laminated map of the aisles. "Start at the back, work your way up. If you need the radio, it's by the time clock." As she turned to leave, she paused. Her face tightened. "One more thing," she said slowly. "If you hear the scanners at the front, just leave them be. They do that sometimes." "Scanners?" I asked. "At the checkouts. You'll hear them. No one's ever there. Just keep working." She didn't wait for my reply. The door closed behind her with a soft click, and suddenly I was alone. The store at night. A different creature. During the day, Kroger is just another grocery store. At night, it becomes something else. The overhead lights in the aisles are the only ones that stay on. Everything else, the bakery, the deli, the pharmacy, is swallowed in darkness. You can't even see the registers from halfway down the store. I began stacking canned beans in aisle 9. The work was monotonous, the shelves towering over me like quiet judges. I kept checking behind me. Nothing. Just silence and the hum of the refrigeration units. But the silence wasn't comforting. It was too complete. You don't realize how much background noise you're used to until it's all gone, until your own breathing starts to sound too loud, until the buzz of a fly becomes a scream. At one point around 2:10 a.m., I thought I saw movement at the far end of the aisle, just a shadow slipping past the edge of my vision. But when I turned, there was nothing. No customers, no co-workers, just me. And the faintest, softest sound in the distance. Beep. 1. Single. Beep. My blood ran cold. That sound, that electronic blip, unmistakable. A checkout scanner. I stood there, frozen. The scanner sounded again. Beep. Beep. Steady, calm, rhythmic. As if someone was running a full cart through checkout, in total darkness. I didn't move toward the front. I didn't breathe. And I didn't ask questions. I just stared into the empty aisles and remembered what Donna had said. If you hear the scanners, leave them be. So I turned around and kept stacking beans. But in the pit of my stomach, something new had settled, a cold, crawling thing that whispered, this job is not what it seems. And I had just stepped into something much deeper than minimum wage. They say every job has unspoken rules. But at Kroger, the rules were written down, folded, faded, tucked beneath the register like a secret no one wants to admit exists. It was my third solo shift. Donna was waiting by the back entrance when I arrived unusual. Her face was pale, lips drawn tight like she'd been biting them. Jacob, she said, fumbling with her keys. Since Bobby left, we need to talk before you go in. She motioned me inside. The break room was empty. The clock on the wall had stopped ticking. I hadn't noticed that before. We walked past the time clock, past the vending machine still flashing E3 error on its screen. At the customer service desk, she reached under the register and pulled out a folded piece of paper, yellowed brittle, like it had been passed down for years. This isn't company policy, Donna said quietly, pressing the sheet into my hand. But if you want to make it through the night shift here, you'll follow every damn word. I unfolded the paper. The letters were printed in blocky, faded ink, photocopied so many times that the edges bled into one another. There were 5 rules, just 5. But even reading them felt wrong. The rules: 1. Never go to the pharmacy section after 2:00 a.m. If you hear pills rattling in the bottles, walk away. 2. If the milk in the dairy cooler turns red, do not open the door. Call Donna immediately. 3. The lady in aisle 4 does not speak English. Do not try to help her find anything. 4. If you see someone at the deli counter cutting meat, keep stalking. They will finish and leave on their own. 5. When the beeping stops, count to 30 and start whistling Happy Birthday. Keep whistling until it starts again. I looked up, waiting for the punchline. Donna wasn't smiling. You're serious, I said. Ask your cousin Mark what happened at the Walmart on Camp Wisdom Road back in 2009. Ask him why they don't run overnight shifts anymore. The air between us grew still. Mark. I never told her I was related to him. I hadn't mentioned my family to anyone here except as an emergency contact. And yet, she knew. Donna grabbed her coat. The truck's here. Start with aisle 9. Heavy stuff first. And Jacob, she added just before walking out the door. It's not about belief. It's about survival. She was gone. I was alone again. Except now I had a list of rules that read more like instructions for surviving a haunted house than a grocery store. Breaking it down. 1 rule at a time. I stood frozen in the break room, the list trembling in my hand. Rule 1. The pharmacy. Pills. 2:00 a.m. I hadn't even been near that corner yet. I figured it stayed locked all night. But now that I'd read it, I swore I could hear something. A faint clack, clack, clack like bottles tapping glass. No. Just imagination. Had to be. Rule 2. Milk turns red. What the hell did that even mean? Spoiled food dye. Still, I made a mental note to keep my distance if anything looked off. If it bleeds, it ain't dairy. Rule 3. Aisle 4. The lady. The paper said she doesn't speak English, don't help her. What if she just needed directions? Even the idea of ignoring someone in need made my skin crawl. But something about that line felt heavier than the rest. Like it wasn't a warning, but a test. Rule 4. Deli. Cutting meat. Don't interfere. Okay, that seemed easy enough. Don't approach the guy with a knife. Basic workplace safety. Still the way it was worded. They will leave on their own, like they weren't people at all. Rule 5. The beeping. Count to 30. Whistle. Happy birthday. That one stuck with me. It was so specific, so childish. It should have made me laugh. Instead, it filled me with the kind of quiet dread you feel when you're the last one awake in a dark house, and someone knocks at the door, trying to pretend it's a joke. I spent the next hour convincing myself it was hazing, an old employee tradition, a psychological prank. Maybe Bobby made it up. Maybe Donna was just tired. I wandered the aisles, forcing myself to believe the normalcy. The produce looked fine. The freezer hummed like always. I stocked soup in aisle 9 and tried not to glance at the shadows creeping along the ceiling tiles. But the further I went into the store, the quieter it became. It was the kind of silence that feels deliberate, like the walls are waiting for you to speak first. The first sound. The test begins. At 1:41 a.m., I heard it. Beep. A single scanner tone from the front of the store, clear sharp, echoing through the silence like a bell in a crypt. Beep, beep, beep. Regular now. One item, then another, and another. I remembered Rule 5. When the beeping stops, count to 30. Start whistling. Don't stop until it begins again. I froze. Watched the red laser light blink from lane 3. No one was there. No carts, no shoppers. Just that steady, invisible scanning. Like someone performing a ritual with groceries. I didn't move closer. Didn't check. I waited. And just like Donna warned, the beeping stopped. I counted 1, 2, 3. My skin prickled. The air felt dense, like the store itself was listening. Like something was standing just out of sight, watching to see if I'd obey. 19, 20, 21. I felt sweat bead on the back of my neck. The kind that has nothing to do with heat. I started whistling Happy Birthday, a melody I hadn't thought about in years. My voice was dry off key, barely audible at first, but I kept going. The sound echoed down the aisles, thin and eerie and wrong. Then after 2 agonizing minutes, beep, beep, beep. The scanners resumed. I stopped whistling. But something inside me had already shifted a part of me I hadn't known was vulnerable. I believed. Not because I wanted to, but because the store had demanded it. You can only pretend something isn't real for so long. After that first night with the scanner, after I followed the damn rule and whistled Happy Birthday like some kid at a cursed party, I went home and sat on the edge of my mattress in complete silence. No music, no lights, just me, and the overwhelming, unshakable feeling that something had followed me home. That night, my sleep was shallow, filled with strange dreams, glowing checkout lanes, blood-red milk, and a faceless woman calling for help from the end of a dark aisle. When I woke up, my bedsheets were soaked in sweat and my throat was raw, like I'd been singing in my sleep. Dread in daylight. I tried to push it out of my head, but it followed me into the daylight. The silence at the Kroger wasn't just quiet anymore, it was watchful. The walls seemed to breathe with me. Every aisle felt slightly off balance, like the space itself was tilting towards something I couldn't see. And then it happened again. The second beeping, with a twist. It was the very next night. I was organizing canned vegetables in aisle 11 when the scanners started up again. Beep, beep, beep. This time I didn't hesitate. I dropped the can of green beans and began silently counting in my head. But the beeping didn't stop. It just slowed down. Beep, beep, beep. Each one further apart, as if whatever was scanning was hesitating, watching, testing. And then in the long pause between beeps, I heard something else, a voice. Faint, childlike, echoing from somewhere between lanes 2 and 4. It's not my birthday yet. I froze. Every hair on my arm stood up. I should have walked away, should have gone back to stalking, but curiosity and fear had me rooted. I crept closer to the edge of the light, careful not to cross into the checkout darkness. Nothing. Just red scanner lights flashing across empty conveyor belts. Then one of the scanners beeped without blinking. Just a sound. No light. As if it had given up trying to trick me, and was now just saying, "I see you." The decision to call Mark. That was the moment I knew I needed answers. So I did the one thing I'd been avoiding. I called my cousin Mark Jenkins. Mark wasn't just the guy letting me crash on his couch. He'd once worked security at a Walmart not far from here, the same Walmart Donna mentioned that first night, the one on Camp Wisdom Road. I'd never really asked him why he quit that job. Until now. The call. The phone rang 3 times before Mark picked up. He sounded groggy. "Jay, you okay? Do you believe in ghosts?" There was a pause. What the hell happened? Donna gave me a list. Rules. You ever hear about scanners going off at night, or people slicing meat when the deli's closed? Another long silence. "Where are you right now, home? Why don't move? I'm coming over." Click. The secret spills. Mark showed up 20 minutes later with 2 gas station beers and the same look he wore at Dad's funeral, one of exhaustion, dread, and guilt. We sat on the small couch, the TV off, lights dim. Outside, the sounds of Oak Cliff at night buzzed, low cicadas, distant traffic, the occasional siren. Inside, it felt like a confession booth. "The Walmart thing," he said quietly, twisting the cap off his beer. "It wasn't just haunted, Jacob. It was wrong. The ground, the space. Whatever's there, it's sick." He explained that back in 2009, when he worked nights to pay for his criminal justice degree, strange things started happening. The story of the haunted Walmart. It began small. Cold spots in the toy section. Aisles where cameras never recorded anything for more than 6 seconds before glitching. Then came the crying kids' voices. "I was doing rounds around 3 a.m. when I heard it," Mark said. Soft singing like lullabies. I followed the sound to the garden center. What he found stopped him cold. 23 shopping carts arranged in a perfect circle, rocking back and forth like they were being pushed by invisible hands. And in the center, nothing. Just voices whispering, "Pick me up, Mama." "I'm cold." "I ran," he said. Turned in my badge 2 days later. Corporate brought in some specialists. Not maintenance, not police. Specialists. A week later, the store stopped doing overnight shifts. Permanently. He looked at me, eyes full of warning. "Whatever's happening at your Kroger, it's the same thing. Or maybe worse. Just don't break the rules. And don't try to understand it. You can't fix what's not meant to be fixed." A terrible realization. His story sat in my stomach like a stone. And suddenly the rules Donna gave me felt less like hazing, and more like rituals. Ways to hold back something older than fluorescent lights and frozen food. "Why didn't you tell me this before I asked?" "Because I didn't want it to follow me here, too." The night after, something has shifted. When I returned to the Kroger the next night, the energy had changed. The air was thicker. The silence wasn't still, it was expectant. I passed the pharmacy section just before 2:00 a.m., and I swear, I heard a single pill bottle rattle once. Like someone had gently shaken it. Like it was trying to see if I was listening. I didn't stop. Didn't look. But I could feel it, the rules weren't protecting me anymore. They were testing me. And something was watching. Some rules are made to be broken, but not these. I didn't mean to break the first rule. It just happened. Slipped past my better judgment like a breath in the cold. The setup, a routine. Too quiet. That night started like the others. Donna wasn't there when I clocked in. Just a note on the break room table written in red pen. Rotate the dairy stock. Check expiration dates. Start with milk. I hesitated the second I read the word milk. Rule number 2. If the milk in the dairy cooler turns red, do not open the door. Call Donna immediately. I remember thinking, it won't happen tonight. That stuff isn't real. It's just. But even as I tried to rationalize, my hand was already pulling the cooler door open. The red milk. The smell hit me first, like rust and spoiled meat soaked in ice. My stomach twisted. Then I saw them. Top shelf, first row. Gallons of milk bright red, but not like dye, not like strawberry milk. This was thicker, heavier. The liquid inside shifted like paint, swirling with dark clots, like congealed blood floating in slow motion. When I tilted one jug to read the expiration date, the surface didn't ripple, it slid almost like it was resisting movement. My mind went blank. I stood there, door wide open, cold air brushing my skin. Then I heard it. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Pill bottles. From across the store. The pharmacy. I slammed the cooler door shut. Calling Donna. My fingers shook as I pulled out my phone. "Donna," I whispered as soon as she picked up. "It happened. The milk, it's red." Her voice was wide awake, calm but urgent. "Did you open the cooler? I had to check the date. I didn't touch anything inside." A pause. "Okay, listen very carefully. Step away. Right now. Don't look back at the milk. Go to aisle 7. Stock cereal. Do not leave that aisle until the air smells normal again. How will I know it's safe? You'll know. When it's safe, you'll feel alone again." She hung up. I backed away, the red milk still burning behind my eyes, the taste of metal. As I turned, I caught it again, that smell. Copper. Decay. Rot. It lingered on the roof of my mouth like I'd been licking a knife. I reached aisle 7 and buried myself in boxes of Cheerios and cornflakes, stacking them as mechanically as I could. But I couldn't stop thinking about what was happening 40 feet away in the dairy section. What that red liquid had once been, and what it might become if I hadn't walked away. The air felt thick, like breathing through gauze. I kept checking the corners of my vision, waiting for something to appear. The smell fades. And something else arrives. It took nearly an hour before the metallic taste left my tongue. That's when I noticed it, a scent, soft floral, vaguely familiar. Perfume. Not the kind you find in the cleaning aisle. This was old-fashioned, like something your grandmother would wear to church, and it was coming from aisle 4, the woman. She was standing perfectly still between the granola bars and oatmeal packets, wearing a faded floral dress from another decade. Her gray hair pulled into a neat bun, a small purse clutched tightly in both hands. She didn't move when I walked by, didn't even blink, just turned her head slightly and smiled. "Disculpe," she said softly in Spanish. "Donde está el arroz? I'm looking for rice." Rule number 3. The lady in aisle 4 does not speak English. Do not try to help her find anything. But she was speaking English. Her voice only had a light accent, clear, precise. She wasn't asking for something strange, just rice. And I'm bilingual. I was raised on English and Spanish in Amarillo. Every instinct screamed to help her. She looked so kind, so lost, so human. "Ma'am," I said carefully, backing away, "I'm sorry. I can't help you." Her smile faded slightly. "Please," she said again. "It's for my granddaughter. She wants to make arroz con leche. I can't find it." Her eyes were pleading. There was sadness there. Not supernatural terror, not a horror movie cliché, just pain, grief. Still, I said nothing, and kept stocking protein bars, refusing to look at her again. I felt her presence linger, like she was watching me. Not with anger, but disappointment. When I finally looked up, she was gone. But the perfume stayed. That scent followed me for the rest of the shift. Soft, floral, lingering like a memory. No footsteps, no voices. Just the weight of something unfinished, unresolved. The aftermath. When the day crew arrived, I tried to act normal, smiled, nodded, cracked a joke with the produce guy. But my hands wouldn't stop shaking, not from fear, from restraint. Because everything inside me had screamed to help that woman. But I didn't. Not because I didn't want to, but because a sheet of rules said not to. Grief lingers in strange places. It stains air like smoke. It hides in quiet corners. Sometimes it shelves itself between the cereal and canned beans, waiting to be noticed. I didn't believe that before I found the shrine. Aisle 12, where it waited. It was a Tuesday night and the store had taken on a heavier quiet than usual. Even the radio, usually playing soft country or oldies, was silent, just static whispering in the background. Donna had left another note: check international foods aisle. Something's off with the canned inventory. I rolled my cart to aisle 12 expecting expired beans or misplaced salsas. But what I found instead froze me in place. The shrine, tucked between shelves of Goya products and canned jalapenos, there it was. A circle of candles, battery-powered but flickering as if alive. Flowers, some fresh, some wilted. A few pieces of fruit. A small carton of strawberry milk. At the center was a photograph, slightly faded. A young girl, maybe 7 years old. Dark hair and pigtails, wearing a white dress and holding a worn-out doll. Serious expression. Big eyes. Still. Below the photo, in neat handwriting: Mary Ellen Sanders, 1987, 1994. I stared. My fingers gripped the edge of my cart until the plastic creaked. The air changed. The second I recognized her name, something shifted. The overhead lights in aisle 12 dimmed just a flicker, but enough to make the space feel separate from the rest of the store, like I'd stepped into another time. A wave of childlike laughter echoed faintly behind me. I turned, no one. But when I looked back at the shrine, a new object had appeared: a small plastic toy horse with a pink mane. It hadn't been there a moment ago, its position carefully placed facing the photograph. I didn't put it there. No one did. At least no one alive. The perfume returns. That same scent, the floral perfume, filled the air again. And when I turned to aisle 4, I saw her. The woman. The one I wasn't supposed to help. Except this time she looked younger. Fewer wrinkles. Hair darker, thicker. Her dress the same, but the colors more vibrant, like a memory playing in reverse. She stood at the end of the aisle, her hands clasped tightly, her eyes on the shrine. She walked slowly toward it. Reverent. Like approaching an altar. She knelt, whispered something in Spanish I couldn't quite hear, then crossed herself. She pulled something from her purse, a birthday card, pink with glitter. She placed it gently next to the toy horse. Then she turned to me. "My granddaughter," she said, voice trembling. She never made it to 8. I promised her a party. I was going to buy the candles. She asked for a horse cake. Her eyes, glassy, haunted, locked with mine. Thank you for watching over her. And then without another word she stood and vanished into the shadows between aisles. Not walked, not faded, just gone. The scanner. Beeping. Slows. At 2:30 a.m., the beeping began again, the scanner at the front of the store. But tonight it was different. Slower. Deliberate. One beep every few seconds, like someone was scanning each item with care. Beep. Happy. Beep. Birthday. Beep. To you. It matched the cadence of the song. I didn't whistle. I just listened, hands shaking. And then, a child's voice began to sing. The voice. It echoed down the aisles, faint at first, but rising. Happy birthday. To you. Happy birthday, dear. Silence. Then a whisper. Mary Ellen. It was a little girl's voice. Soft. Sweet. Unaware she had died 30 years ago in this exact building. Tears welled in my eyes before I could stop them. This wasn't horror. It was heartbreak. The store wasn't haunted by monsters. It was haunted by unfinished moments. By a child who never got her birthday. The question that changed everything back at home. I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, same water stain still shaped like a face, and reached for my phone. I texted Mark, "Did anyone die in the Kroger 1994? He didn't respond for a while. Then finally, "Why do you ask?" I saw a shrine. Little girl. Name was Mary Ellen Sanders. 5 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Jesus Christ, yeah. She was crushed. Shelf collapsed. Lawsuit happened. They settled out of court. Family disappeared. Then another message. She died the day before her 8th birthday. Candle aisle. Aisle 9. The realization. The pieces clicked together. The birthday party that never happened. The woman wandering aisle 4, searching for rice, for candles. The voice singing, the beeping, the rules. and something else hit me, a chill that wrapped around my spine. The rules weren't to protect us from ghosts. They were to protect the ghosts from something else. Something worse. It was strange. After everything I'd seen, the beeping, the red milk, the woman in aisle 4, the child's voice singing, what finally made me feel uneasy was having company. Her name was Emily. She arrived 30 minutes early. I found her in the break room sipping gas station coffee and reading the laminated aisle map like it was a menu. "You must be Jacob," she said, smiling. She was in her 30s, sharp eyes, short black hair tied in a bun. Wore a simple gray hoodie and cargo pants, efficient, no-nonsense energy. She looked like she could lift a pallet and then explain quantum theory without breaking stride. Donna followed behind carrying the folded sheet of rules. I watched closely. Would she hand it over like she did with me? Quiet, grave. Final she did. Emily unfolded it and raised an eyebrow. "This is a joke, right?" Donna didn't smile. "Jacob will explain. Trust him. Just don't break any of them." She left without another word. Emily read through the rules again, this time slower. Her brow furrowed on Rule 5. "Whistle happy birthday when the beeping stops." "You're kidding me." "No," I said. "I'm really not." Starting the shift, with doubt, we worked together for the first few hours. Stocking cereal, restocking juice. She was fast, efficient. Kept telling me stories from her old job at a 24-hour sporting goods store, where employees would move mannequins around to freak each other out. She laughed easily. It was infectious. For a while, I forgot about the dread. But dread doesn't forget you. 1:18 a.m. The beeping begins. Beep, beep, beep. I froze. Emily didn't. "So, is that it?" "Yeah. The checkout scanner thing. The one we don't look at." "Exactly." She stared in the direction of the front registers. "You ever actually see anything?" "Yes. And that's why we don't go near it." Emily narrowed her eyes and took a step forward. "What happens if the beeping stops? We count to 30. Then whistle. Happy birthday." She gave me a look that said, "You're messing with me." But then, the beeping stopped. Just like that. Dead silence. The first test. Rule number 5. I didn't hesitate. 1, 2, 3. Emily joined in reluctantly. At 30, I started whistling. She didn't. I looked at her, serious, desperate, and motioned. "Please." She sighed and started whistling along off-key, mocking it at first, until we both heard it. Another voice. A child's voice, not a whisper, a response. "Happy birthday. To you." It came from aisle 9 this time. Soft. Echoing. Real. Emily stopped whistling. "Did you hear?" "Yes," I said. "Don't move." We kept whistling until the beeping resumed, soft and steady. The energy in the store lifted, just slightly, like a storm cloud pulling back. 2:43 a.m. The woman returns. We were stocking granola bars in aisle 4 when she appeared again. This time she looked even younger, late 30s maybe. Her hair dark, no gray at all. Her dress, the same floral pattern, was brighter, like time itself had been rewound. She clutched her purse and moved slowly down the aisle, eyes scanning the shelves. "Excuse me," she said, turning to Emily. "I'm looking for birthday candles." I reacted immediately. "Don't help her," I whispered. "Rule 3. Please." "She just needs candles," Emily said. "We're literally standing next to the baking aisle." "She's not real," I hissed. "She doesn't speak English. She shouldn't even be able to say that." The woman smiled again. "My granddaughter turns 8 tomorrow. She wants a horse cake. I just need candles." Emily's jaw tightened. I could tell she wanted to help. The woman looked so human, so lost. Everything inside Emily's customer service brain was screaming, "Say yes. Walk her to aisle 6. Help." But I begged with my eyes. "Please," I whispered. "If you help her, she won't stop coming back. She'll never leave." Emily slowly backed away. The woman's expression shifted from hopeful to hollow. She turned and walked away, but not toward the shadows. Toward aisle 6, the baking supplies. We watched her pick up a box of birthday candles. They hadn't been there before. The singing starts again. From deep in the store, the child's voice returned. Happy birthday to you. The woman walked toward it holding the candles in her basket. Emily began to follow, but I grabbed her wrist. It's coming from the pharmacy, I said. Rule 1. Do not go there after 200 a.m. She froze. We stood at the edge of aisle 8, watching the woman vanish behind the pharmacy gate just as the song reached its final note. Happy birthday, dear Mary, Ellen, and then silence. The air felt like it had been punched out of the building. Emily starts to understand. We spent the next hour working in quiet. No jokes, no small talk. Finally, she looked at me and said, "She's the grandmother, isn't she? From the shrine you told me about." Yeah, she's reliving it, over and over. The party that never happened. I nodded, then added, "She's not the only one stuck here." Emily went quiet, then asked the question I'd been dreading. What happens if you break all the rules I didn't answer? Because deep down, I was starting to think someone already had, and whatever they had released was still waiting for us in the dark. Something changed that night. Not subtly, not slowly. The store shifted like it had grown tired of pretending to be normal. For weeks it had whispered at the edges. A shadow here, a voice there. But now it wanted to be seen. The wrong order. It started small. Around midnight, Emily and I were stocking soup in aisle 9 when I noticed the cans had been rearranged. Not by us. We were only halfway down the aisle. But at the other end, the shelves were already full. Cans perfectly stacked, sorted by color, not brand. A red wall of tomato soup. A yellow one of chicken broth. I looked at Emily. "Did you do that?" She shook her head slowly. Then we noticed the cereal aisle organized alphabetically. Not by type, not by brand, by name. "This wasn't like this an hour ago," I whispered. And then came the frozen food section. Vegetables sorted by expiration date. Perfect rainbow rows, oldest to newest. I felt the back of my neck go cold. "The store's stocking itself," Emily said. "Or something else is." 1:00 a.m. The beeping returns, but off. That night, the beeping didn't come from one lane. It came from all of them. Checkouts 1 through 6, flashing, beeping, blinking in unison. Beep, 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 then silence. We counted, whistled, but the air felt wrong, like something was testing us now, watching more closely. Donna's unexpected return. At 2:15 a.m., we heard the break room door open. Donna's voice called out, "Both of you come here, now." She never worked nights. She hadn't been around since she left Emily the rules. We found her sitting at the break room table, a bottle of whiskey and a folder of papers in front of her. She looked 10 years older. Pale. Gaunt. "Corporate's shutting us down," she said. "Too many reports. Too many injuries. They're cutting overnight shifts next month." Emily and I exchanged a glance. Injuries. Donna slid the folder forward. Photos. Reports. Statements. "Bobby didn't quit because of a family emergency," she said. "He's in the hospital, crushed by a shelf, aisle 9. My stomach turned. "The same aisle where Mary Ellen died? And he followed the rules," Donna continued. "Every one of them. That's what scares me. The angry manager is real." She pulled out a photo, a man in an old Kroger uniform, name tag store manager, 1987-1995. Donna didn't say his name. He was here the night Mary Ellen died. Signed off on the shelf installation, ignored the wait warnings, pressured staff to overstock. "What happened to him?" I asked. "He died 2 months after the accident. Stroke in the store's office. They say he collapsed while yelling at an employee for taking a break." Her hands trembled. "Some people say he never left." The deli slicer screams. That's when we heard it. Thunk. 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 The deli slicer. But this time it sounded wrong, like it was struggling. Screech. Thunk. Whir. Metal grinding, screaming, not just slicing, tearing. Emily and I bolted toward aisle 6, peering through the plastic barriers of the deli section. The slicer was spinning by itself, but sparks were flying. Sparks turned to flames. Plastic melted. Then, the temperature dropped. The lights go out. All at once, the store lights died, pitch black. Only the flickering slicer cast light and pulses. And then we saw him. The angry manager appears. A tall figure. half shadow, half corpse, wearing a decades-old manager uniform, soaked in something dark. His name tag still clung to his chest, rusted. His eyes empty sockets glowing red from within. He stood behind the slicer, not operating it, becoming it. Metal fused into flesh, his hands spinning like blades. When he spoke, his voice was like grinding steel. "You broke the routine." Emily screamed. "Run," I shouted. "We can't stop him." But we didn't run, because he raised one arm and pointed directly at us. "She got her birthday. You stole her from me. He knows." He wasn't angry because of the rules. He was angry because we broke the pattern. Mary Ellen was supposed to die, again and again. She was fuel. Her grief fed this place. But we had interrupted that loop. Let her go. And he knew. "You helped her leave," he growled. "Now you will take her place." He stepped forward. The tiles beneath his feet cracked. Water leaked from the ceiling, red-tinted and steaming. The store itself was reacting. We ran, the lights flickered. The air screamed. Every scanner in the front of the store exploded into chaotic beeping. Emily grabbed my hand and we bolted down aisle 5. Shelves toppled behind us. Cans rolled, sparks flew. The freezer doors burst open, releasing fog and whispers. We could hear him stomping, slicing, roaring. "You don't belong here anymore." What we realized. The rules had never been about survival alone. They were about appeasement, about keeping him content. Predictable routines to feed his power. And now that we had broken the cycle, we had made ourselves visible. The store was breaking apart. Not physically, not yet. But something beneath it, a pattern, a system, a ritual was starting to unravel. And like any ritual that's disrupted, it was starting to fight back. After the manager appeared, Emily and I barely made it to the front end. Smoke poured from the deli counter. Sprinklers activated water, soaking every aisle floor tiles slick beneath our boots. The overhead lights flickered like strobes at a haunted rave. And the beeping every checkout lane was alive but not scanning. Screaming. A digital corrupted chorus of broken signals. Too fast. Too loud. A cacophony that vibrated in our teeth and our bones. "We can't keep running," Emily said, wiping blood from a shallow cut on her forehead. "He's not going to stop." I nodded. "We have to give him what he doesn't want. Let her go. Let them all go." Back to the shrine. We raced to aisle 12, where it all began. The shrine was still there, soaked but untouched. The candles, the battery-operated ones, were now pulsing in rhythm. Not random. Heartbeats. A child's heartbeat. The fruit was fresh again. The photo clear, almost new. And the small plastic horse had been moved. Now it faced the exit. Mary Ellen appears. As we approached, the temperature dropped, and then rose, and dropped again. Air pressure shifted like a door was opening. Somewhere else. Then came her voice. "Are we having the party now?" She stood just beside the shrine. 7 years old. Pigtails. White dress wet from the sprinklers but pristine. Holding a box of birthday candles like a precious gift. She looked real, but I could still see light passing through her. Her hands didn't cast shadows. "Hi," she said to Emily, smiling shyly. "I'm Mary Ellen. I'm turning 8. The wish. Emily knelt beside her, voice trembling. "Are you ready to make your birthday wish?" Mary Ellen nodded. "I want Grandma to stop crying. She thinks I don't know, but I hear her every time we go shopping. She's always sad." Her voice cracked. "I don't want her to be sad anymore." Emily lit the candles. 7 small lights flickering in the drenched aisle. One final candle held in Mary Ellen's hand. "Make a wish," I whispered. She closed her eyes. Silence. Then she leaned forward and blew them out one by one. When the last candle went dark, the store shifted again. The spirits respond. From every aisle, every corner, voices began to sing. Not just Mary Ellen now. Dozens of voices. Men, women, children, all singing the same song. "Happy birthday to you." The lights flickered, then steadied. The beeping stopped. All of it. Then came the roar. The manager's rage. From behind the deli, the angry manager burst forward, no longer fully human. His limbs were longer. His skin stretched like plastic wrap over steel bones. His name tag burned white hot against his chest. "No," he snarled. "You do not leave. This is mine." He raised a hand, and the shelves shook violently, cans exploding from their positions. But Mary Ellen stood firm, holding her candle stub like a sword. "You're not real," she said quietly. "You're just the thing that kept us afraid." The manager screamed. Steam burst from the vents. The freezers cracked open. Glass shattered behind us. But then the shrine lit up. Every LED candle turned gold. The banishment Emily and I stood between Mary Ellen and the entity. I began to whistle Happy Birthday one last time. Emily joined in. Mary Ellen sang with us. Each note seemed to tear pieces from the manager's body, his hands melting, jaw dislocating, name tag crumbling to rust. "You helped her leave," he hissed. "She was mine." But then he looked down and saw that no one was singing for him. That every trapped soul in the store had turned to Mary Ellen. And not one looked back at him. He collapsed into smoke and static. Gone. The goodbye, Mary. Ellen turned to us, her eyes filled with soft light. "Thank you. I'm ready now." She looked toward the exit. For the first time, I saw the front doors wide open, not locked in night mode. "Tell Grandma. She doesn't have to keep looking." She walked forward and vanished in the mist. No scream, no flash, just release. The store goes still. The humming stopped. The lights calmed. No more singing, no more beeping. Just peace. For the first time since I started working there, the store felt like a store again. Not a prison, not a haunted loop. Just empty. It should have ended there. The candles blown out, the spirit freed, the store silent. We should have walked away and never looked back. But closure is a myth, and ghosts don't always leave when the lights turn off. Sometimes, they stay inside you. The days after the store shut down 3 nights later, no official announcement, no press release, just a sign taped to the doors, closed for renovation, reopening TBD. But we knew. Emily and I never talked to corporate again. No one ever followed up. It was like the entire building had been erased from the system. We met once for coffee. No words, just silence. She moved to Austin. I stayed in Dallas. For a while, I thought maybe the story was over. Until I started hearing the beep. The first glitch. It happened while I was shopping. Not at Kroger. At a completely different store. A Walgreens. I walked past the pharmacy aisle and the scanner at checkout lane 1 chirped. Just once. Sharp, electric, familiar. And no one else reacted. Nightmares return. The dreams came slowly. I'd be walking through a normal grocery store reaching for milk, but the label would say Mary Ellen's 8th. Or I'd hear a manager yelling from a place just outside the frame of the dream. Once I saw the toy horse on my kitchen counter when I woke up. It vanished by morning. Was it guilt trauma? Or was something still with me? The forgotten aisle. A few months later, I went back. I don't know why. Curiosity guilt. Maybe I needed to see if it was still dead. The building was untouched, lights off, windows boarded. Except the front door was cracked open. Just a little. I stepped inside. It wasn't empty, dust hung in the air. Shelves were bare. But the shrine was still there. Exactly where it had been. Untouched. The photo, the plastic horse, the birthday card. Still in place, though it should have been cleared out long ago. And there beside the shrine, a small box of candles. Unopened. Fresh. But not just any candles. They spelled out, "Welcome back." The whisper. I turned to leave. But the store had other plans. The lights blinked once. The door behind me slammed shut. And in the silence, I heard it. "It's your turn now." A whisper, soft, but full of teeth. The final reveal, I ran for the emergency exit, but it led straight into aisle 9. And there beneath the flickering overhead stood me, or a version of me. Same clothes, same face. Except his eyes were hollow, his smile wide and twitching. He held a scanner. It beeped. Once. Twice. Then he whispered, "Customers never leave. The lights go out." I woke up in my bed, or I think I did. Everything feels the same, but nothing feels right. The coffee tastes metallic. My reflection lags when I move, and sometimes, just sometimes when I pass a mirror, I see the store behind me, still stocked, still waiting, still alive. Final lines, haunting conclusion. You think it's over. You think helping her leave was the end. Let me tell you something I've learned. You don't escape a place like that. You just bring it with you. Every beep, every rule, every birthday never celebrated. They cling to you like a barcode that can't be erased. So next time you're at a grocery store and you hear the scanner beep just a little too slowly, don't look up. Because maybe it's not your receipt that's printing. It's your name. If you found this story valuable and interesting, please hit the like button. This really helps us bring you more good and valuable content. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think, what questions you have, or what topics you would like us to cover next. We love hearing from you. Of course, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next stories. Thank you for taking the time to read my stories.